As an INFP, do you often feel like emotions are your greatest gift, but also the biggest burden imaginable? I remember being called Stoic in elementary school by Veronica Lucci, and I didn't know what it meant at the time. But it's definitely been a running theme throughout my life, which is pretty strange when you think about an INFP having a Stoic approach to life. They seem contradictory, but what most people get wrong is that they're not. They actually are complementary. They work together. Stoic philosophy doesn't say that we should resist emotions. It gives us a framework to understand and shape feelings, which is something that most INFPs don't learn how to do. And it's very helpful. And it's not being dishonest to yourself or your feelings to have a framework to understand yourself at a deeper level and show up as the person who you want to show up as. To me, that sounds like a win-win. And it wasn't always like that. I'm sure if you think about your emotional cycle, your general struggle with emotions, let's talk about negative ones because, why not? Maybe you have a value, something that's important to you, and somebody infringes on it in some way. You get upset about it. You start to generate this growing fusion reactor inside you, and you go through the past and what happened in the past, and then what that means for now. And then you think of all these different lateral timeline versions of your interactions with the other person. It just spirals out of control. I've been there. Emotions really heavy, late nights where you're wrestling with existential crises, punching walls, spiraling into this negative state, especially when thinking about things that are outside of my control. But here's what Stoic wisdom can give to us. It offers a framework that doesn't tell us to stop feeling. It coaches us on how to process it in more helpful ways. So let's talk about 3 different core aspects of Stoic wisdom and Stoic philosophy that we can apply as INFPs. So the first one is the Dichotomy of Control. Instead of fighting against your emotions, fighting against sensitivity, categorize what you're feeling and know what you can control, what is within your control, and what is not. If it's not in your control, then acknowledge the feeling. You can feel however you want about it, but know that there's nothing you can do about it. So there are other things that you can do with that emotion, with that focus, with that energy, besides focusing on something that you can't do anything about. Sometimes it's best to just acknowledge it, accept it, say this is how things are right now. And I'm going to work on what I can control. Usually starting with your breathing. Focus on how you're breathing, your posture, your state, your thoughts, and your performance will come out of that in a better way, and you'll be in a better position to handle things. But if it's outside of your control and there's literally nothing you can do about it, don't get those quick hits of emotion. It's toxic emotion. You can go somewhere else and get better emotions. The next one is Premeditatio Malorum. Ooh, I think I got it that time. This is using your natural INFP imagination to prepare for future challenges. So it's premeditated focus on the bad stuff in a positive way in order to build resilience. See, we do this naturally. Everybody does it. I think INFPs have a superpower in, focusing on what is not going to work, right? But if you do it as rehearsal to prepare yourself for the challenge, and then you actually do something, you take actions, your unconscious mind has been prepared for it, marinated in a way that you become more ready to handle what is going to possibly go wrong. Now, I also suggest doing the opposite side of this and focusing on what is going to go right. Imagine the positive future scenario too. You finished it. You're 15 minutes, 30 minutes after the situation. This is something that we do a lot in hypnosis and coaching sessions. It's all been successfully completed. What happened? How do you feel? What was just before that? 15 minutes before that? What was 15 minutes before that? Like working backwards from a positive, successful situation is really good too. But you can also focus on the bad stuff and learn from that. What went wrong? Okay, well, I'm not going to do that, right? If I showed up to do a presentation or this video, before this video, I was kind of not really feeling it. So I had to change my state. I changed my posture. I changed my breathing. And I did the things that were opposite of the premeditated focus on the bad stuff. And you can do it too. And then you're less likely to be overwhelmed. It's kind of similar to Memento Mori, which is like counting down how many days you have left to live, which is something I did for a long time. And it sounds brutal. It sounds really negative in a lot of ways. But for me, it was like inspiring to find I've got one less day in my average lifespan, right? So I'm going to make the most out of it. I'm going to do things that are going to move the XP needle forward, things that scare me, that challenge me, that are going to help me grow. So it's a different way of using your mindset. INFPs are already very introspective, and we love doing it. We love understanding more about ourselves, discovering more about ourselves, even the scary stuff, the negative stuff that most other people wouldn't want to explore. So Stoicism gives us many different formats, formulas, frameworks to process those and to understand them. Like, for example, you could do the evening review based on Seneca's practice, which is asking these questions. What emotions dominated my day? What triggered these emotions? Which responses served me well? Which responses led to additional suffering? What could I have done differently? There is no way that you can say that that is a negative practice. To delve deeper into which emotions served you best and how can you do more of those and what you could have done different. Another one that I talk about in the INFP masterclass, not in this way, but is values alignment check. Discover your values, what is important to you, and align your life with those. That is such introverted feeling at its core. If you know your values and you know what is important to you, it's so much easier to make decisions. It's so much easier to wake up inspired, to love your life, to have better relationships, all because you know what is important to you and you are acting in alignment with that. If you don't clearly define that, what is your value? Not what is your value, but what are your values? Then it becomes really difficult to make decisions, to have a fulfilling career, to be in a relationship that you are showing up as someone who is adding to the relationship. Because there are a lot of these journaling frameworks, I'm going to create a little PDF that you can get, or maybe I'll do an email or something like that. So you'll be able to get access to those journaling frameworks inspired by Stoicism and that work well with INFPs. Remember, the goal is not to become emotionless. It's to channel your feelings, your emotions, the stuff that you're doing anyway, your imagination, into something that is meaningful, something that is important to you, something that's going to help you live a life that you enjoy.